She is running. Not running with direction or plan, but with the raw animal knowledge that stopping means death. The forest closes around her in black layers, branches clawing at the air, roots twisting like traps beneath her feet. Her breath tears in and out of her chest, sharp and ragged, every inhale tasting of damp earth and rot. Twigs snap behind her. Not footsteps. Something heavier. She ducks through low brush, thorned vines tearing at her sleeves, biting into bare skin. Pain flares across her arms, her thighs, her knees. She stumbles, catches herself against a tree, bark scraping her palms raw. The forest does not slow. It never does. Her hair snags. For one frozen second, she is caught, held fast by a branch wound deep into her dark curls. Panic floods her throat. She claws at it, fingers shaking, ripping free with a cry as strands tear loose. She doesn't look back. She never looks back. The ground slopes sharply downward. Mud. Her foot slides, then the other. She flails, loses balance, and tumbles, rolling, sliding, skin burning as stones and roots strike her. She tries to shield her head, but the hill ends abruptly. Impact. Her skull strikes something hard. White explodes behind her eyes. Sound collapses into a distant ringing, then nothing at all. Light filters through her eyelids. Warm, gentle. She blinks, disoriented, the world slowly resolving into color instead of shadow. Blue sky. Soft clouds drifting lazily overhead. The scent of grass and wildflowers fills her lungs, clean and sweet. She is lying on her back. Alive. Gita sits up too quickly and gasps as pain lances through her forehead. She presses trembling fingers to the spot and pulls them back, sticky with dried blood. A dull throb pulses behind her eyes, but the terror, sharp and suffocating, is gone. She looks around. The meadow stretches wide and open, ringed completely by the forest. Tall grass ripples in the breeze. White and yellow flowers sway like they are breathing. Sunlight pools warmly across the ground, touching everything with a softness that feels almost deliberate. She knows this place. Her chest tightens. She made it back. Somehow, impossibly, she fell through the forest and woke again in the meadow, as if the woods themselves rejected her, as if they spat her out. A stream winds through the grass nearby, its water clear and bright, whispering quietly over smooth stones. The sound steadies her breathing. Gita pushes herself to her feet, wincing as pain flares in her knees. Her skin is scraped and bruised, her clothes torn and muddy. Her hair hangs loose and tangled around her shoulders. The forest looms at the edge of the meadow. Dark, silent, watching. Even in daylight, it does not look harmless. She turns away from it and follows the stream. The cottage appears gradually, as it always does. Small, simple, half hidden by flowering vines and low trees. Smoke curls gently from the chimney. The door stands open. Voices drift out. Female voices. Alive. Gita's steps falter as relief crashes through her so hard her knees nearly give out. She reaches the door and stops, suddenly unsure. Her hand trembles as she touches the frame. Then she steps inside. The room goes still. 4 women turn toward her. Larissa stands nearest the hearth, tall and sharp-eyed, her dark hair braided tightly down her back. Elizabeth is seated at the table, sorting dried herbs, her expression already hardening. Charlotte kneels by a basket of clean cloths, her hands gentle even as her eyes widen in shock. And near the window, quiet and watchful, is Miriam, older than the rest. Her face lined not with age, but with knowing. For a long moment, no one speaks. Gita sways. Charlotte is the first to move. Gita, she says softly, already crossing the room. Oh, Gita. Hands steady her before she can fall. Charlotte guides her to a chair, kneeling to inspect her injuries. Her fingers are cool and practiced. Elizabeth stands abruptly. That's not possible. Larissa steps closer, eyes narrowing. You crossed the boundary. I know, Gita says. Her voice is hoarse. I know I did. Miriam exhales slowly, as if she has been holding her breath all morning. You came back, Miriam says. Not a question. A statement weighted with something like fear. Charlotte presses a cloth gently to Gita's forehead. Gita flinches. You're bleeding, Charlotte murmurs. You took a hard fall. Elizabeth's voice snaps. People don't come back. Larissa folds her arms. Not from the forest. Gita swallows. I didn't escape it, she says. I ran, I fell, and then I woke up here. Silence settles again, heavier this time. They sit her at the table. Water is placed in her hands. She drinks greedily. What happened? Larissa asks. Start from the moment you crossed. Gita closes her eyes. It was dark almost immediately, she says. Not like night here. Thicker. The air felt crowded. I heard something behind me. Elizabeth leans forward. The creature? Gita hesitates. I don't remember seeing it at first. Only fear. Like my body knew before my mind did. She opens her eyes, staring down at her scraped hands. I ran. I don't know how long. I couldn't tell direction. The forest kept changing. Every time I thought I was turning back, it felt wrong. Charlotte glances toward the window where the tree line is just visible in the distance. Then what? Charlotte asks quietly. Gita's breath shudders. I fell. Hit my head. Elizabeth lets out a sharp, humorless laugh. There it is. Larissa gestures sharply. You're injured, confused. No, Gita says, lifting her head. I remember something else. Miriam's eyes sharpen. Go on? There was a moment, Gita says slowly. Before I fell, I saw something. The room stills. It was tall, Gita continues. Strong-looking, dirty, like it had lived out there a long time. Elizabeth's jaw tightens. It stood upright, Gita says. Like us. It had a face like ours, hands like ours. Charlotte's hand stills against Gita's arm. It looked surprised, Gita says. To see me? Larissa shakes her head. You're describing the creature. No, Gita insists. I don't think I am. Elizabeth stands. Enough. Gita's voice rises despite herself. I didn't feel malice. That stops them. I was terrified, Gita says, but not of it. Not the way I was afraid of the forest itself. She presses her fingers to her temple. There's a word for what it was. I know there is. Something we don't have here. She frowns, frustrated. Something like us, but different. Silence stretches. A man, Miriam says quietly. The word lands like a stone dropped into still water. Gita's breath catches. Yes, she whispers. That's it. Elizabeth slams her hand on the table. Absolutely not. Larissa's face is pale. We don't speak of that. They don't exist here, Elizabeth snaps. They belong to the forest, and everything in the forest kills. Gita shakes her head. He didn't chase me. Then what did? Larissa demands. Gita looks down. I don't know. Gita straightens despite the pain in her body. I'm going back, she says. Charlotte's hands tighten on the cloth. Gita, no, Elizabeth shouts. That is it. Her chair scrapes loudly as she stands. How many of us must die for your hubris? How many crossed that boundary thinking they were different? Larissa turns away, jaw clenched. All of us are safe here, Elizabeth continues. In the meadow. So in the meadow we remain. Gita meets her gaze steadily. But I came back. Elizabeth laughs bitterly. Because you fell. Because you hit your head. She points sharply at Gita's forehead. Look at you. Gita touches the knot, flinching, but her voice is firm. What I saw was real. Miriam studies her for a long moment, then says nothing. Charlotte gently guides Gita away from the table. Sit, she says softly. Let me clean this properly. Elizabeth turns away, already moving toward the door. I won't hear more of this. Larissa follows, though she pauses briefly, casting Gita a conflicted glance before stepping outside. The cottage grows quieter as the others disperse to their morning chores, gathering herbs, tending the garden, drawing water from the stream. Charlotte works carefully, dabbing salve onto Gita's knees, wrapping clean cloth around her scraped arms. You scared them, Charlotte says gently. I know, Gita replies. You scared me too. Gita manages a small, tired smile. I scared myself. Charlotte hesitates. Do you really believe what you saw? Gita looks toward the window, toward the distant forest edge. Yes. Charlotte ties off the final bandage. Then rest, she says. Whatever you choose, don't decide it today. Gita nods, though her eyes remain fixed on the trees. Outside, the sun climbs higher. The meadow is peaceful, and no one wants to be anywhere near the forest when evening comes, because some things only move in the dark, and some doors, once opened, remember who crossed them.
This concludes Chapter 1 of The Maidens of the Peaceful Meadow. For more content like this, please like, share, and subscribe. Also feel free to check Amazon for the ebook once it is available. It will be linked below. Stay blackened, stay reading.